Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Football. My name is John Halpin, alongside my brother Mike Gunther. Welcome back on the show. Great to have you. How you doing, my brother?
It's a complete reversal from last time I was here. If I remember correctly, last time I think the Jags came in 1-3, and I was breathing hellfire and brimstone, calling for heads on pikes. Today, it's all sunshine.
It is a very sunny day in Duval, but
I had to. You couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist.
We're going to touch on that later.
But we have so much to talk about. We just got through week 5 of the NFL season. We had a lot of great games this past week, and I say, Mike, let's just get right into it. Let's just start going game by game. Let's start with last Thursday with the San Francisco 49ers beating the Rams 26-23 in overtime. Now, this was without Brock Purdy still, but Mac Jones looked excellent.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of him when he was with the Jags last year. He did show some sparks that gave you a kind of an understanding as to why New England drafted him. I mean, obviously it didn't work out there. He's a solid backup quarterback, and he's doing okay for them. I mean, they're 4-1 right now, which that one loss right here, that one loss to the Niners, that blemish on their record. See, totally different vibe from last year. I love this.
Right? it's
no, this is. It was a big win for them, right? Good Lord. No, the Niners needed that divisional opponent. You got to get that dub. Even backup start, it doesn't matter. You got to pull that out. For them to do it, I'll tell you, it's a good statement win for them.
And it was a great win, and it was a really great game to watch. It was one of those games where it's like a lot of highlights in that one, and it was. I'm sure the sequel will probably be just as good as the original later on in the season.
Well, I mean, I would imagine Purdy will be back by then, right?
Oh yeah, I would presume so.
And if he is, I don't know if it goes to OT, but that also depends on, how well, that offense in LA works. Adams is having a pretty good year. Nakua seems like he's, picking up from where he left off last year. So, this should be good.
Rams are still a dangerous team. The 49ers are a dangerous team, and I wouldn't be surprised to see both of these teams in the playoffs come January.
No, that division is very good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's damn good. I mean, we'll wait and see. It's still crazy to think that we're heading into week 6. I feel like the season just started.
I know. Hey, we're already in October, which is crazy to think about.
August right around the corner, yeah.
I know, and in October too. This is typically when we also start to get like international games as well, where teams are sent over to London and Germany and Ireland, as we've seen already. But we did have a London game this past week, and that was the Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns, and the Vikings pulling it out at the end, 21-17. But this was the debut of Dylan Gabriel for the Browns, and he played pretty well. And it was one of those games where it came very close at the end. Browns had a lead for a good majority of it, but all in all, this was a very solid game and a solid win for the Vikings.
Well, Browns are going to Brown. We've known that forever.
Mm-hmm.
They officially turned the page on Flacco, and they're going with the youth. It was a good start to this kid's career. I saw a couple of passes that he made that were very, very crisp. He knows what he's doing. I don't know if sending the Browns to London is a great representation of the league. I question that just a little bit. But, the fans got an entertaining game, and, a good win for Minnesota. You have to have that win. You gotta. Dude making his first start, you have to take that dub. And it took care of business.
Absolutely. Solid win. They stay alive in the race in the NFC North. And like you said before, the Browns are going to Brown.
Yeah. Death, taxes, and the Browns folding.
Amen to that. Well, and also the Jets, too, because
Out of pain.
The Jets played the Dallas Cowboys this past week, and the Cowboys beat the Jets 37-22. Dak Prescott, again, still playing MVP caliber football. But, man, the Jets are now the only winless team in the league at the moment.
In the words of the great Joe Beningo on WFAN, oh, the pain. The pain. My boss is a major Jet fan, and he's sitting there giving me all of these iconic videos of just torching the team. And sports radio was beautiful on Monday. It was great. The Yankees losing, the Giants, we'll get to that. the Jets absolutely just not showing up. I mean, that score wasn't even that close. It was not indicative of how close that game was because it wasn't close at all.
No.
You look at the score, it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But no, it was rough. It's tough to be a Jet fan. I mean, I still like Glenn. I mean, he's learning the role and he's trying to figure his way through all of this. But oh my God, this is. I understand they brought Fields in as a placeholder, until they draft their quarterback, which they have to do this coming draft. And I mean, hell, the way they're going, they're going to have the first overall pick, so might as well make it work. But this is not anywhere close to what my Jet comrades were hoping for going into the season. I haven't heard a peep out of most of them in a little while. I mean, I'm going to have to do some health checks on them, but it's just, it's rough to be a Jet fan right now. It's so bad.
It is very rough to be a Jet fan, and it's one of those where it's, even if they do get a quarterback, which they probably will, because that's kind of like the conventional thinking of that, they still have a lot of problems on many different parts of the field. Their offensive line isn't that good. Their defense is not as good as we thought it was a couple years ago. Their defense has really been slacking. And again, they have a lot of great players that we can get our arms around, like Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. But these are all guys where maybe the Jets might have to consider trading some of them just to get draft picks, just to get more youth. And
that's not the first time I've heard that. It really isn't. The rough part is they just signed Wilson and Gardner. Like, just in this offseason, they signed them 4-year deals.
Yep.
So you're going to have to eat a lot of that signing bonus. You can get some good stuff for that, and I've heard a lot of people saying just burn it all to the ground player-wise. Keep the coaching staff because it's their first year. You got to give them a little slack. But any player that had any kind of value, ship them out. And I have to wonder, because I'm not too familiar with the draft class coming in, but if there isn't like a consensus number one top pick being a quarterback, say the top pick is like a defensive end or something, do they trade that pick to someone who might need that position and accrue their first, next year first, possibly year after that first, and kind of stockpile heavy on the draft picks for a potentially desperate team in need of what I guess they don't? They really need a quarterback to start off. And I know Palma's very big on the build inside out, like build the lines and then get your skill positions and whatnot. And then that's cool. I'm with that. But you can also do that in later rounds. Mm-hmm. And the more picks you have for that, the easier that is. It's a double-edged sword in their respect. Like, they're going to be bad. They have been bad for a long time, but they're still going to be bottom of the barrel for a minute. And it's going to make for some entertaining rants and not so great TV.
I'm not too familiar with the draft class. I know Palma has more of a pulse on college football than I do.
Yeah, he always has.
But I do know that there is a name that is very particular to this draft, and that is Mr. Archie Manning.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, so
I knew he was on the tip of your tongue. I could see it.
Yeah, and I think that, as the Jets' New York market, they're going to be wanting a Manning just because out of just prestige alone. But again, Manning has not been as fruitful in college football as anticipated earlier this year. But I'm still expecting, and I'm sure Palma would expect too, that his name would still be high on a lot of teams' draft boards, including the Jets.
But it's not as high as it was, say, like last year.
No.
Like, if he came out last year, he would have been top 5. Now I don't think he's going to get that high. I've heard the same thing. I heard he's not doing that great. It might benefit him to stick around another year and really prove himself, because if he gets the number one pick, like just for argument's sake, say he stays in, and then he blows up next year in college, right? Starts taking the entire system by storm, racking up killer stats and all that. You've got the first overall pick, prestige, and the signing bonus that's going to come with that. So, I mean, financially, it makes sense for him to stay and whoop ass next year, as opposed to taking the shot this year and maybe not getting. You don't want him to be like Shador this year and be sitting there day one going, "When the hell am I getting drafted?" I got name, I got recognition. You don't have the stats to back it up. You might want to wait a little bit and then pad those stats a bit.
Yep. The Jets are going to have a very interesting decision to make come the offseason, and we're going to have to definitely keep an eye on them. And I know you'll be listening closely on
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. Bring the chaos. I love it.
I'm sure the sports radios also had a lot to say about the Giants this past weekend, who lost to the New Orleans Saints 26 to is that 19? 26 to 19. Jackson Dart had a nice debut against the Chargers, but to lose to the Saints? What the hell?
He started. Well, yeah, I mean that's a rough pill to swallow if you're a Giant fan, but I mean the first 2 drives they scored against New Orleans. They scored 2 touchdowns the first 2, and he looks. I watched that game. I watched that game while I was at work, but I still saw it. It was he looked really good in the beginning. Like he looks like he knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of like self-confidence. Like he can make these passes. I mean, I'm seeing him whipping the ball around like he's been doing it for a decade. I mean, I like that about him, and I understand the hope from the Giant faithful about him. I get it. The coaching isn't where it ought to be, and the rest of the team ain't exactly where they ought to be. And I know they're missing their top receiver and all that, but the other guys got to step up, and they didn't. There were plenty of drops, plenty of ones that went off the hands. Other people got to step up if they're going to be anything other than a max 3-win team, even with all the potential that this kid Dart's got. And I think he's going to be their guy for the next 5-6 years, at least. They're going to stick with him because he, like I said, he's got a ton of potential, and I like what I've seen from him so far. And I know the Giant fans and other Giant coaches and all of them have seen that and they like it, which might not be here past this year, but there's hope there, but only that little tank Sadabu, like that kid. I mean, granted, he had a big fumble at the end of the game, and that was a backbreaker. You can't. That really was the death knell of the game. That fumble that they took all the way. That's because that kid. I watched him run, and he's so small. He's like a little cannonball. He just kind of plunges through everybody, which is awesome to see because you don't see that kind of stuff. It reminds me of Allstott back in the when.
Yep.
He just runs through people. And they got a lot of potential at the quarterback. They got a lot. I love Scatterbo as a running back. That guy's just fun to watch. Everybody else kind of sucks. So, they got to fix that too, man.
Yeah. Again, the Giants are much like the Jets, where like they have a lot of problems, and like just addressing one side of the ball is not going to be enough. And I'm with you too. I like Scatterbo a lot. I think Jackson Dart is really good, and I really want to see him throughout the next couple years. But like you said, the Giants season has been defined by hope, and that is really comes with the youth that they drafted. And there's something to be said about that, right? Where the Giants kind of drafted the team, the core that they kind of wanted, and the Jets were still kind of waiting for them to do that. So the Giants, again, have that hope for the rest of the season to go forward. Again, expectations aren't high, but sometimes it's not always about the wins. It's about progress and just seeing progress within the players and seeing the chemistry build within the team.
Damn, I'm used to hearing that in the world of hockey, not so much in football.
It's applicable
especially with my guys.
It goes to all sports, my friend. So not just hockey.
Sure.
Also love the Nabokov jersey in the background.
Oh yeah. I got my boy over here and another one of my homies over here, and I got, of course, the professor across the room over there.
Of course.
Yeah, I gotta rep my boys. We bleed teal over here.
Bleed teal, baby. And FTK.
Don't get me started on that. God. That's a whole nother story for a different night.
We'll save it for hockey when we talk about hockey.
Thank God, forget it. I could do an hour and a half easy on that.
Let's move to the Midwest. Let's move to the area of your younger brother, Jonathan Gunther, where the Indianapolis Colts took on the Las Vegas Raiders, and Indiana Jones putting up a 40-piece, 40-6. Danny Dimes MVP? Question mark.
Kind of hard to go against that right now. I mean, you want to talk? Excuse me. You want to talk about I can't even say a resurgence because he never really had that peak in New Jersey. But he is absolutely proving the whole greener pastures theory. I mean, this guy went over there and from the jump has just been lights out, which is ridiculous. And I hate it because he's in my division. I got to respect it. I mean, the guy is playing his ass off. I don't know what his contract is over there, but he's earning himself a good, solid extension. You can say goodbye to Richardson. He's pretty much closed the book on that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that guy's going to be backup material and probably, they're not going to renew his ass. It's over. For Richardson over there, that experiment's done. They love Jones over there, and he's making himself a nice home over there, which it's truly impressive just how good he's been. Mm-hmm. It really is.
And for Colts fans, it's a breath of fresh air because ever
Oh,
since the
sure.
retirement of Andrew Luck, they just have kept plugging
Mm.
and playing a lot of veteran quarterbacks: Matt Ryan, Philip Rivers, Carson Wentz,
I forgot about Rivers. Jeez, yeah,
Flacco.
that's
At a
right.
certain point, like
Yeah.
they really kept plugging in these different guys. But it seems that Daniel Jones really found a home here in Indianapolis. And right now, I'm
Mhm.
seeing a lot of shades of Sam Darnold from last year on the Vikings, where it's like
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
quarterback that didn't have high expectations going into the year, but he's the perfect fit for the scheme that the coach is trying to run. And
Hmm.
he really is. He's doing it all. And if you're looking at MVP voting right now, there's probably three people that you could probably put in that list, and that's Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, and Dak Prescott. Those are like the three top dogs right now, which is crazy because I don't think anyone saw the peak of Daniel Jones right now. And I told you this, I believe I was on Monday. I can't wait to see Colts and Jags game later this year. Both of them. It's going to be a great matchup between two really good teams, and hopefully it's high stakes too, where it's going to be for the division.
All right, now they're tied atop that division at a comfortable 4-1, but I'm not going to speculate on that because I know that the history of my teams is generally disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say I'm looking forward to that, and I'm hoping for a little bit of Jags luck to go a little bit farther into that game than they did in previous meetings. But we'll see what happens when the time comes. I mean, it's going to be a good one. But right now, the Colts are riding high, and the Raiders just found out that they're not quite where they want to be.
Now, Geno Smith leading the league in interceptions with 9
Oof.
interceptions so far.
Mm.
So Raiders are going to have a
Ain't
lot.
Seattle, is it? It's not Seattle's Geno Smith. It ain't Seattle's Pete Carroll right now either.
Sometimes it's not always greener pastures. Sometimes you go
Well,
to Vegas. You could use that. Don't worry. It's not trademarked. You could use that.
that was good. That was very good. That was well played. Nicely done.
I got it, my friend. But
That was funny.
let's move on to Carolina, where the Miami Dolphins fell to the Carolina Panthers 27-24. The Panthers making a strong comeback against the Finns, and now Carolina sitting at 2-3 and Miami 1-4 for the year. It has been a very weird year for both of these teams, but probably a little weirder for the Dolphins because they have a lot of catching up to do if they want to make a playoff run.
They're cooked.
Oh shit.
They're
Already.
so deep. Dude, they're done. They're so done. I mean, we know that it's damn near impossible to come back from the record that they're at and make the playoffs. That conference, you look at it, no one's catching Buffalo in that division. I stand firm on that. There's so much going wrong with that team. It almost seems like the coach isn't really. I don't want to say he doesn't give a crap, but it seems like he doesn't have that desperation factor that he should at this point. I mean, there's a real possibility he's gone at the end of the year. It wouldn't shock me to see some of the players getting shipped out over the next couple of weeks either. So I mean that's just as the, the Panthers are going up,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see it's a completely different Panthers team than it was last year,
Mm-hmm.
even the year prior. Like, they're making the strides like you can see it week by week. But as they're going up, you can see Miami just plummeting,
Yep.
and it'll make for a very interesting trade deadline for them. It'll make for an interesting offseason for them for sure. But I like the way Carolina ain't there yet. They still got a couple more pieces they got to get for sure. But they're trending in the complete opposite direction of Miami, and I'm telling you now, Miami's done. I know our boy is gonna hate that, but hey, it's not good over there, and it doesn't sound like it's getting any better.
Yeah, it's not looking good in Miami. If I had to put money, I'm not a gambling man, but if I had to put money, I'd put money that Mike McDaniels is probably going to get fired or released at some point this year. Now, the bigger
You think he
question,
makes the season?
at the trajectory they're at, I'd say no. At this point in time, I'd say no. If they're like 1-7, I think that's probably when they pull the plug. But again, interim head coaches never really get the job done and everything. But you're right. Like, they're both heading on opposite trajectories. My question for Miami is, do you keep Tua? That's the real question: is do they keep?
Did
Tua?
they sign him?
They did sign him. But that doesn't mean that they could be looking elsewhere, right? So I'm interested to see whatever coaching regime comes after Mike McDaniels, what players are going to be a part of that new coaching regime going forward.
Well, all right. So here's a question for you. We touched on, not 10 minutes ago, the Jets possibly burning everything to the ground and starting over from a player perspective. Do you think that Miami could do the same, except in a player and personnel, like coaching personnel aspect as well? Like, they just take the entire organization, set that shit up on flames, and just watch it burn?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how big of a retooling are we talking? Because if they get rid of the quarterback, they might as well just get rid of everybody.
That's the question, right? It's like, how far do you want to go with it, right? The Jets have nothing to lose, right? They're desperate as
That's
fuck.
true. Yeah.
Miami at least has some kind of level of consistency in their players, right? And there's some kind of identity to them. They do have like good players such as not Tua. They also have Waddle, A-Chain, a lot of good guys. And it's like, is it worth that? For me, I would keep the core as is. I'd keep Waddle, I'd keep Tua, I'd keep A-Chain. I'd get rid of some of the defensive veterans a little bit because that defense does need to get tweaked a little bit. But I think that there's a lot of upside to be had with these players. And I think that the real question is going to come at the doorstep of the GM for the Miami Dolphins is like, what do you value more? Do you value the players that you have, or do you value the potential in draft picks going forward? And that's only the GM can really answer that. But I'm
GM's on the hot seat too. That's
I know.
I forget I don't know what his first name is, but I know he's Sharks GM Mike Greer's brother.
Mm-hmm.
I know I know Greer is the GM in Miami, and I've because I follow a lot of Marlin beat writers on Twitter, whatever it is. They also cover the Dolphins, and a lot of them have been calling for this guy's head.
Chris Greer.
Like Chris Greer. Okay, so I thought it was Chris. I don't want to take a guess. He's definitely on the hot seat. That guy's the fire is at his shoes.
Yeah.
If something doesn't change real quick, he's gonna be on his ass like expeditiously. It's gonna be rough for him and for the team, and I feel bad for that franchise. I mean, they have an opportunity to make the playoffs here with a weak division, say for Baltimore. I'm sorry, for Buffalo, and it's unfortunate.
It is, and again, Miami's another one of those teams where we're going to have to keep an eye on them going forward, and also Carolina too, because again, both different trajectories, and just kind of seeing where they value each of their players, their coaching staff, and draft picks going forward. So there's a lot of teal to be had. I don't know if they're teal though.
It's kind of aqua. I don't qualify that as teal.
The teal connoisseur over here.
Hey. I bleed it, baby. I know.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're talking Broncos, Eagles over here. Broncos defeating the Eagles 21-17, putting the first blemish on the Eagles' record this year. This was a great comeback for the Broncos and a very questionable second half performance by the Eagles. But Mikey, what were your thoughts on this one?
18 points to nothing in the fourth quarter. I mean, did they even show up in the fourth? Like, I know Denver did. I mean, they came out there, they wanted this dub. I got to tell you, man, I don't feel the same way about Philly this year as I did last year. Like, last year, they felt more like a juggernaut than this year. This year just seems, I don't know, not as scary to me. It seems like they're more beatable this year than last year. I mean, last year they were just on fire like the entire season. I don't get the vibe from them like that this year. If you're an Eagles fan, I'd consider that slightly concerning. But at the same time, if you're in that division, you're like, okay, great. Maybe they're starting to falter a little bit. I don't know. That was a great win for Denver. I don't want to quite say a statement win, but it definitely showed some balls on their part. A lot of resiliency and a good solid will to win. And everybody on that side's got to be real happy about that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail right on the head with the word resilient. The Broncos seem to be a very resilient team, while the Eagles, if they're going to just kind of keep letting teams hang around, they're teams that are going to be opportunistic and resilient enough to capitalize. And the Broncos were the first. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Eagles.
Yep.
Exactly. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Eagles going forward, but you're definitely right. They definitely seem a lot more vulnerable this year than they did last year. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, it's going to make the NFC very, very interesting come January. But
Can't argue that.
let's move to Baltimore, where my
You
Ravens
really want?
got smacked by the Houston Texans 44-10. This was a thrashing. And I admittedly earlier that day said that, oh yeah, the Texans offense is ass. Yeah, I was proven wrong in like an hour and a half later. I was fucking wrong. But good win for the Texans. Horrible loss for the Ravens. We fall to 1-4 and still without Lamar for the next week. It's not looking good for the Ravens.
Nope. And of all the teams you guys had to lay an egg against, I mean, come on, why did it have to be the Texans? That's a selfish thing for me to say, but I mean, fuck the Texans. Anyway, no, that's a rough pill to swallow. I mean, if nothing else, that just proves how vital Lamar is to that team. But I mean, still, the defense has to show up. I mean, that's 44 on a team that's been struggling the entire year. I mean, that's just bad. And yeah, it's not. This season does not look promising for either franchise right now. It's so weird to see Baltimore at 1-4. It's just I never thought I'd see that.
Mhm.
You know, especially in the era of Lamar. Like, I never ever thought I'd see 1-4. Like, it's going to be damn near insurmountable for them to try and make the playoffs this year.
Well,
I'm not really sure where they go from this.
well, we got to make a lot of changes and we got to really work harder. I know this week the Ravens, we did start trying to trade for defensive players. We drafted Odafe Away for a safety to the Chargers, and a sixth-round pick, giving up a fifth-round pick. We also did sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson to our practice squad, so we are trying to make some moves defensively. But like you said, without Lamar, this team is pretty much dead on arrival. It's very hard to see, and it's very painful to watch some of these Ravens games, man, just because it's like, so we have given up 177 points so far throughout the first 5 games of the season.
That's very not Ravens.
The 2000 Baltimore Ravens gave up 165 points throughout the season. We already surpassed that in 5 games. So this defense is horrible, but what perplexes me is, why are we not giving Derrick Henry the rock enough? Why are we not giving this man like 20 to 30?
Yeah.
We should have been leaning on him, and John Harbaugh thinks Cooper Rush can throw us a victory. No, it's give this man the rock. Give him the ball. Run the ball. Oh, God damn it.
That's what he's there for. You guys brought him in to be your bulldozer in the back. And you're right. They're not utilizing him nearly enough, especially with the big gap at quarterback. I mean, shit, how many years did he literally carry the entire Titans team? You know, we saw that for years on end. And he's back to doing that same thing with Baltimore right now in this current instance. He's got to be getting at least 25 carries, per game. Based on that alone, I mean, the guy can break a game open solo, and it doesn't seem like, for whatever reason, and I'm with you, I can't quite understand why they're not giving him the opportunity to do that and at least put some points on the board. Selfishly, I got him on like 3 fantasy teams, so I'm like, step it up, but just in real life, like, there's no reason why they should not be, as you said, leaning on him to carry the offense. It's just not really sure what the coach is thinking.
I don't know, but I know John Harbaugh his seat is getting pretty hot at the moment by a lot of Ravens fans and a lot of media in Baltimore. From what I've been reading, a lot of Baltimore media, John Harbaugh his job is not safe this year, and so especially with
that's interesting.
The high expectations that we had this year, and to now falter to 1-4. Now, granted, have 1-4 teams made the playoffs? They have, and the closest example is the Rams last year. They were started 1-4, and then they were finished 10-6. 11-6. Yeah, and then made the playoffs. So it is possible. But man, I am not the optimist for this, and it's going to make that Rams-Ravens game this upcoming week that I will be attending not as joyous as I once thought it would be, but I hope it's still going to be a great time nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you can see, you and I are not exactly fans of local franchises, so anytime you can see your boys in person, it's awesome, win or lose. Obviously, it's better if they win, but I mean, for your sake, I hope they pull out a dub. Just for you, if for nothing else. There's also an opportunity, especially the way the season's going, for great pain. And I kind of hope you avoid that when you go down there this weekend.
Thanks, friend. But we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
But let's move on to another bird team. Let's move to the Tennessee Titans and the Arizona Cardinals. And the Tennessee Titans getting their first win over the Cardinals in what must have been the most hilarious game of the year so far. You dropped would-be touchdown to put the dagger away, interception to fumble. It was a very, very weird game. And Paul and I, we spoke this game last week, and we were just like, Tennessee, just get a touchdown. Just score points. Just score points. And they did. By hell and high water, they did. But this was a very weird game. And for the Cardinals, it kind of hurts their standings in the NFC West. As we said before, NFC West is a really good division. They got the Rams, they got the Niners, and they got the Seahawks. Tough loss for the Cards, but good win for the Titans. They got their first win of the year.
Once again, team in my division gets lucky. Because if that guy hadn't have dropped that ball at the goal line, I don't understand why they do this. Why can't you just carry it over the damn thing and throw it into the crowd or spike it against the wall? Or if a cameraman or somebody to drop the ball off before you even cross the line is just, I mean, it might be a little bit of an old school approach, but cut that guy. You know, like that's unprofessional. It's got no place on the team, and it literally cost them a win. In what could potentially, the way the season is going, that could be a make-or-break game for them.
Absolutely.
And they literally dropped the ball on a win. I mean, there's really not much else to say about that. They had the game in the bag, and they blew it.
Yep, and you hit the nail right on the head.
So if I was a Cardinal fan, I'd be pissed off. I'd be livid, and I'd be trying to find out, if I could catch that dude in the parking lot and whoop his ass a little bit. Because I know football fans are a little wild, but I mean that's inexcusable. There's no way that you can let that happen at professional level. No, especially that's the second time we've seen it this year, right? Like, wasn't there somebody earlier in the year did that? And we've all seen highlights, and there's YouTube compilations and stuff like that of people dropping the ball off before they get they cross the plane. It's like, man, everybody knows about that. What the hell's going through your head? It's not showboating. You want to showboat? Cross the line, do a little dance. Don't sit there and flick the ball, because this kind of shit happens. It's just it's disgusting. Terrible to see.
Tennessee gets their first win, and Cardinals fall to 2-3. So let's move to Seattle, where we had...
Tennessee better send them to do a gift basket or something.
I know they really should at this point.
I'm disgusted by that.
Let's move to Seattle, where we had actually a really great game between the Seahawks and the Bucks, and the Bucks coming away victorious 38-35 in what was a great duel between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold in their respective teams.
Yeah.
Again, this was what is known at least on the internet, as the Jersey Bowl, because they both had their really, really nice classic vintage jerseys on this game. But hey, this was a great game to watch, and it was one of those games where if you didn't check out the highlights, highly recommend to check out those highlights.
Especially in the second half. I mean, the first quarter, 3 points. But it really started kicking up in the second half, and that's when things got real. I underestimated Tampa this year. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they're showing, and I mean, more power to them. I'm not quite sold on Seattle. I want to see a little bit more from Darnold. I know he had that great year last year, and he's in a whole different scenario now. But I mean, Tampa's showing some guts. I like it. I'm very impressed with them, and the fact that how many teams has Mayfield been on? Like 3 right now, 4.
So Cleveland, Carolina,
yeah,
LA, and now Tampa.
Oh, he was in LA. I forgot about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for
so
like a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a home, and he's defending that home, and I gotta give him respect for it. These guys, I don't know if they're gonna go that far in the playoffs, but they're definitely making some noise in the regular season. I gotta respect it.
Again,
tough one for Seattle to lose.
Yeah, tough one for Seattle, but again, Baker Mayfield's playing MVP caliber football, and I feel a lot more confident in my NFC Super Bowl pick in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than I do in my AFC Super Bowl pick in the Ravens. So good on Tampa.
Well, yeah, that one kind of got shot to hell.
And we're going potentially, but we'll see. But we'll see more of Seattle this week when they play your team against the Jags, and we're going to get more into that game later on. But let's move to the Battle of the Cats, the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati Bengals, and an absolute trouncing by the Lions. Lions beating the Bengals 37-24, but man, this was just a ferocious onslaught against a very weak Cincinnati team who now recently acquired Joe Flacco from the Cleveland Browns. And if you put Joe Flacco behind that offensive line, that might be considered elder abuse, right? Right?
That poor guy is going from one crap franchise to one that shouldn't be crap. I mean, recently the Bengals have been pretty good. I know how you feel about that franchise, and I can't argue with you on that.
FTB.
I respect that greatly. I don't know what they're expecting from him. I mean, he's not going to save their season. But I mean, at this point, there really is no saving that season. I mean, Detroit came in, did what they had to do. Browning, I think the guy's name was. The fact that he beat the Jags just drives me bad shit, but that's week 2, I think that was. I feel for Cincinnati and their fans. I get it. You know, you lose your quarterback, your season's pretty much screwed. And I don't think Flacco will get him a win or two, but he's not the solution. You know, he's a plug in the hole, you know, in the dam that's leaking heavy. I mean, it's just not good over there. Detroit, on the other hand, they're kicking ass. You know, they're going to be back. They can be back in the playoffs. They're going to be back making a lot of noise. I don't know how far they're going to go, but they're showing a lot of resilience after losing all those coaches this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this past offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed with them, and I mean they play for that coach, man. Boy, did they ever play for him. He's got that locker room wrapped around his finger. He could walk on water for them. And hell, I'm here to see it. I'm excited for them. I think they're going to do very well the rest of the year. Unlike Cincinnati, yeah, this game was a small microcosm of the way both of their years have gone so far, and probably the rest of the way.
Absolutely, and that was well said, because I have nothing to disagree with that, and I will say maybe we should start giving the Detroit Lions the nickname of America's team, because I know that goes to the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't think there's a single soul in this country, unless you're an NFC North fan other than the Lions, where it's like you want to see Detroit do good. As teams from the other side of the conference, it's like, man, it would be so nice to see Detroit do well. And like you said, Dan Campbell's got his finger wrapped around that, but like the city, he's got the pulse of the city in his hands, and this team plays hard week in and week out, and it's going to be so great to see them not only this month, November, December, January, and I know Dan Campbell is also thinking February as well, but
Sure,
we shall see.
absolutely.
We shall see.
It's funny, you know. You mentioned the America's team thing. These guys for so long were such trash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody can forget the winless season and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's America loves underdogs. If you look at if you don't have a specific vested interest in a team, like you mentioned, you go for teams that have never won before, or teams that are, you know, the upstarts, or guys who are punching above their weight class, things like that. You go for the long shots. And recently, the Lions have come from that long shot and I don't think they get the respect they deserve. I mean, they're a really good team on both sides of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and they are still lovable. And I think you're right in the respect that, you know, unless you are a fan of, say, Green Bay or Minnesota, you know, you're willing to go, I want to see them win. I want to see them do well. It'd be awesome if they make the Super Bowl. God damn, they won a title. You know, could you imagine, like, if they won a title? I don't think they'd be, you know, a pissed off person in the building. You know, I'm fairly confident that they really could be the new America's team, at least for, you know, this little stretch, until some other team who's sucked for a hot minute decides that they're going to find a coach who's relatable and a very personable dude. Like, Campbell's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm fairly confident that most of the league would love to play on his team,
Oh,
or at
absolutely.
least be coached by that guy. He is the prototypical leader of men, and he's got that team playing their asses off every game, and you got to respect that. You know, I hope they do well.
Hmm. Yeah, no, again, they're just such a great team, and if they were to ever make a Super Bowl, their first ever Super Bowl, I think a lot of people would really, really love to see it, especially our boy Ed. Shout out to Ed out of Michigan.
Yeah, yeah. Big love on that. Yep,
So,
yep.
but we'll have to keep an eye on both of these teams going forward. Let's move to LA, where we had the
Mm.
Washington Commanders beat the Chargers 27-10. The Chargers, they got off to the start first, but man, Washington took over the game quickly and they said, nope, you're getting nothing from us. And it was a complete dominating game by the Commanders and the return of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that was a Washington game that you would see last year. That was what you expected when they were going roughshod over that division. It was a little bit of a throwback. It was good to see. And I saw a picture of Harbaugh with his hands on his knees, bent over, like, what the hell is actually happening? That was a reality check for any Charger fans and for the team itself, who think, that they're ready to fight with the big boys. And Washington just proved again that, they're the class of that. They're I won't say the class of that division because Philadelphia is still, until proven otherwise, they are the top dogs in that division. But Washington's right there, and they're going to make a lot of noise going the rest of the way. They got Daniels back, and that is massive. As we've established, your quarterback goes down, you're pretty much fucked. But this is good for them. It's good for the team. It's good for Daniels to come back. Crap for the Chargers. Um, I love that Washington took care of business and they can go forward with their quarterback getting it back on track and just, plow forward in the season. I think they're going to do very well the rest of the way. A little shaky on the Chargers, but Harbaugh's got a guy. He's a dude who's got the track record of being able to adjust, and he's definitely going to have to adjust after this game.
And that was well said because they're absolutely going to have to adjust, especially if they want to win the AFC West, which is something that they haven't done in years. So this is going to be a very uphill battle despite them getting off to a very hot start. But like we said, like Paul and I, we say a lot on the show where it's a marathon, not a sprint. And the whole season is a game of attrition, and we'll have to see where the Chargers land come December and January because that's when all the money is pushed to the front of the table. And we got to see if they're able to make that call. Okay, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to get right back to the Sunday night primetime, and that was the New England Patriots beating the Buffalo Bills 23-20. Very well. It was kind of like a chess match between these two games. Low scoring at first, but ultimately they broke through. But man, if there was ever a coming out game for Drake May, I think this was it.
I'm surprised at the result. I really didn't think that they were going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was underestimation on Buffalo's part, but I mean, I didn't seeing how tough they played the Bills. I mean, that's a great, game planning
Mm-hmm.
by New England. Got to give them all the credit in the world, for how they executed and what they came up with to combat the great Josh Allen. I mean, proof is in the pudding, man. You come out with a dub in Buffalo. I mean, you can't be anything but thrilled about that result if you're New England.
Absolutely. Hey, and it makes this division in the AFC East a lot more interesting if the Bills have some competition. So it is really great to see, and good for the Patriots to beat the Bills. There are no more undefeated teams.
Right.
Every team has a blemish now. So
That's so wild. It's so cool. I mean, there's no undefeated teams, and yet there's still one winless team.
Jets are gonna jet.
As we said, it's rough to be a Jet fan right now.
It is rough to be a Jet fan, but I believe me, we could spend the whole time laughing at the Jets' misery. I think that you'd want to talk about the Monday night game, my friend, where the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-24. I'll just let you take the floor, my friend. Wait, before you do, I will say it was fun being on the mic with you and hearing your emotions as the game was happening in real time.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure, but the floor is yours, my friend.
As anybody who has watched me or heard me see a game where my teams are playing, I'm into every play. I'm into every. In football, I'm into every snap. In hockey, every change of possession, every trip up and down the ice. with this game, I was invested from the get-go, down 14-0. You're like, fuck, here we go. You're thinking, the Chiefs have had the Jags number for a minute. And, the last couple of years, Jags have sucked. And Lord knows last year I was, like I said, I was here, on y'all's podcast last year talking about, Peterson's got to go and, burn the whole thing down, and Balky's got to be put up in front of the stadium on a spike where the fans can just start whipping him, things like that. And granted, both of them are gone, and I'm grateful, but it seems like Cohen, and I don't know if you've seen his post-game, talking to for the team, where he gets in the middle of the circle, and
I haven't, no.
It's energetic. He's got that team believing. The players have bought in. I mean, yes, I saw him doing that pep talk with his crew after the game. I mean, he runs into the middle of the circle. The team is going ballistic. He's talking them up. He's saying his piece, and you can see JHA behind him just standing there, just nodding, like yeah, like everything, yeah, and like the whole team is getting pumped up just from him talking. This guy he's turned the franchise on its axle. He's got them going 180 degrees from where they were last year, and it's beautiful to see. The players are playing for him. The results are there. Granted, the first impression kind of sucked, but he's doing very, very well for that team. And seeing them come back from 14-0, tying the game, taking the lead at 17-14, and then look, you heard me. The refs, there were no less than 3 occasions where them zebras could have thrown laundry, and they didn't. They kept it in the pockets. The touchdown play to Kelsey, they had a moving pick. I didn't realize I was watching the NBA. I wasn't sure if the referees thought they were refereeing the NBA, because there were dudes setting picks all over the damn place. The Kelsey touchdown, the interception that Lawrence threw in his own territory, same thing. Jags receivers got picked in respect to the interception. He got picked, he got knocked down, and that's why Lawrence was sitting there going, what the hell? Because the guy got knocked on his ass.
Yep. Flag
stayed in pocket. The play with Kelsey, our defensive back, blocked as he was crossing. Kelsey wide open. Nothing. It's like, all right, you know what? Whatever. It showed great restraint. Great resilience on the Jags' part to be able to endure not only the Chiefs, but the referees too. Now, granted, to the refs' defense, when they needed to make the call, specifically that play in the fourth quarter, throw into the end zone, that was obviously pass interference, that if they had kept the flag in the pocket, that's a pick. But they threw it, and it's a good thing they did, is that would have, you never want the game to teeter on the calls of the official, right? So for them to actually do the right thing and throw the flag, setting them up for, I forget what they called it, like the slip 6, I think they were calling it, where the touchdown run from Lawrence,
the slip
on.
6.
Yeah, I heard somebody call it the slip 6 before. I kind of like that. That's not bad. This game reminded me very much of, I think it was 3 years ago, that Charger playoff game where they were down like 33-0, came back in the second half and won it.
Yep.
Like this, I got that kind of vibe. It's a different team than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Lloyd with the 99-yard pick 6. I mean, come
man.
on. This dude, you want to talk a guy on a mission? This guy's on a mission. He's looking for a payday, and I really hope that I'm not watching a dude on his last season with the team. But this, because they turned down his 5th-year option. So he's a free agent after this season. I really hope they can find a way to keep him in the fold, because he's playing lights out. I mean, the whole defense is just playing great, and I really, really hope that they can make next week, Darnold looking like the Jets Darnold as opposed to Minnesota's. That'd be great to see. Overall, great win for the Jags. I can't be more excited for the season that they've had so far, minus the Bengals hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they've beaten the Niners. They've beaten the Chiefs. These are not easy teams to beat, especially in recent times. And these guys have gone and handled business. They're defending home field against KC. I mean, it's a different team thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they can keep that up. But I mean, look, 2 years ago we saw them get out to a really good start and then completely fall off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see them do it a whole season through. But for now, 5 games in, couldn't be happier.
And again, it's so crazy because, like you said, last year you came on the pod and you were like, our season is basically going to be on week 5. If we don't win this, it's over. If we do, then we stay alive. And
Yep.
what a turnaround an off season makes, right? Where
Oh yeah.
you go from the hopeless to the hopeful, and it really depends on a lot of the decisions made by the people. Like, what was it Khan? His name Omar Khan.
Uh,
I'll
Shad Khan.
Shad Khan. I'm thinking, okay, Shad Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of these decisions are proving to be the right one. And I think Liam Cohen, like you said, he has really just revitalized this team. And
Oh yeah.
from last year, Doug Peterson, it just was not resonating with the players. And you still have that core from the Doug Peterson era still there. You still have Lawrence, JHA, ETN. You have Trayvon Walker still there. You have, well, I'm going to mess up his name. Okularan, I think his name is.
Aluakan.
Oluwakan, yes. So a lot of really, really good players. And Liam Cohen was like, well, we're going to add some other playmakers to there, like Travis Hunter.
Yo, he showed up, man. Boy, did he show up.
That catch that he
Oh
had
my
in double coverage,
and he got
catches.
halfway on his descent. That shows a lot of skill to be able to, number one, make that catch. I mean, he caught that down by his knees. He jumped. He caught it by his knees. Got hit. Still held on to the thing. I was so. Oh my god. I don't know if it was a coming out game for him in particular, but it definitely showed why he's got skills on both sides of the ball. I mean, that was a great catch. Brian Thomas finally showed up.
Mm-hmm.
That catch down in the fourth quarter along the sideline, massive pickup. Great throw by Lawrence, because if he didn't throw that, if you underthrew that a little bit, that's incomplete. He just cleared the fingertips of the defender, and good on Thomas for actually reeling that thing in. The stars that you have on that team showed up, and that's what you need against the team like KC. And to your point, the rebuild, it wasn't, I can't just see a rebuild. Like, they got rid of Kirk from last year. They got rid of Ingram from last year.
Mm-hmm.
They let a couple of big-name contracts go, and they brought in guys that could, fill in the gaps. And they allocated the resources a little bit better than Balky had prior, and you're seeing it. It's so much. It really is night and day. And last year, this time, they were dead in the water. And you could see it in the body language. The fans felt it. This year, they're going off, and the fans are all with it, and so is the rest of the team. I mean, you can't ask for anything better if you're.
No. You didn't pronounce it right. It's Duval.
You bastard.
But that was such a great game by the Jags, and I look at it, and I'm looking forward to this game against Seattle. Right, because these are two really hot teams. Despite Seattle losing last week to the Bucs, these two teams are hot, really, really hot. And what impresses me most about the Jags, and I'll get into Seattle a little bit, but what impresses me most about the Jags is that Liam Cohen, he's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
But yet the Jags lead the league in takeaways by a huge margin. They are winning a lot of these games defensively. And that's what I'm so impressed to see, where it's like, you have a head coach that's not neglecting the other side of the ball. He's understanding the value and the importance of it because, like you said, he's motivating the team. He's motivating the team. He's not motivating the offense. He's motivating the entire team.
All sides of the team, yep.
Exactly. And when you look at that game against the Chiefs, that was a complete team win, right? When the Jags had to have it and had to have it, right? Like they went down the field, and that drive down the field by Trevor Lawrence, that was some of the best he has ever looked in the NFL. Like, he was making incredible throws, and the slip six, which I love so much, that play, and I think I told you this when we spoke on Monday, that was the most Jags play I've ever seen in my life, where it looks like all hope is lost, and then you somehow find a way to win and get the go-ahead touchdown, but you give Mahomes a little bit of time, right? we've seen him with 13 seconds make some good stuff, of course.
Seriously? Really? We're gonna go like that? I'm right in the middle of one. Okay, I'll text it to your mom. I'll text it to your mom later. I don't think we're live streaming. We're recording right now.
Not live streaming. I could edit this out.
Okay, bye. I told her we were on the cast. I told her we were doing this. I pick up the phone and I hear Nate screaming in the car. Like, why? And this is the life that I chose.
But it is the life that you chose, man. And I'm really happy for you again. But when the boss calls, you got to take the call.
That's the thing. That was call number 2. She had just called and then she called again. I was like,
you
something's
had to
wrong.
answer that. You had to answer that shit.
Oh, the second call I absolutely had to answer. It was that I get my ass chewed out. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Oh, shit.
Where the hell were we?
The most Jags play I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Because where all hope is lost and then you somehow get it. But then not only do you get it, but you also give Mahomes a little bit of time left. And we've seen Mahomes with 13 seconds go down the field to get it, right?
Yeah.
So the defense had to have it too. They had to make those stops, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
The great zone coverage said, you can have everything in the middle. We're going to defend the perimeters perfectly, and they did.
Yeah, that's what you got to do with time going down like that. You have to.
Exactly. And so what I love about this Jags team going up against the Seattle Seahawks team is the Seahawks under Sam Darnold look like a very complete team too. So on both phases of the ball, from the Jags offense to Seattle's defense, to Seattle's offense to the Jags defense, it's going to be a full game between these two teams of beautiful chess match of young personnel, and it's going to be such a great game to see.
Yeah, this one should be a lot of fun. I really hope that after the exhilaration of knocking off a 3-time, is it 3-time champ?
Yes, 3 times.
Yeah, sorry. So knocking off a 3-time champ like that, I really hope for their sake this is not a trap game of any sort, like where they let their guard down and let Seattle come into their territory and do what they did not let Kansas City do. You know, I would hope for their sake, and I would hope for the coach's sake, he can get them just as jacked up to play Seattle, who, like you said, is hot, and they're a complete team. You know, you can't keep your foot. You got to keep your foot on the gas. You have to. You know, you're in a dogfight for your division. Hell with Seattle, you got to get this dub so you can keep up with, you know, Indianapolis, who possibly could beat Arizona. Who knows? You know, we'll get to that. But this next game, I think, is also a test to see where they are. You saw what they can do. Let's see what they can do after that fact. I mean, how many times have we seen a team get a statement dub and then come out and shit the bed right after that? Too many times. I'm just hopeful they can avoid doing that. What the hell are you doing?
Don't worry, Rebby's welcome on camera. Don't worry.
What are you doing, bud?
See, my question for the Jags is what really makes Seattle great so far is the emergence of their wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba, and he has really established himself as a number 1 wide receiver. He already has, through the first 5 games of the season, he has about 550 yards so far.
Oh, crap, is that many?
He's got that many. And Cooper Kupp, who they acquired in the offseason, has just about 200 yards. So what that tells me is that Sam Darnold is really favoring Jackson Smith-Njigba.
And they should. Or he should.
And they should, because he's very talented. My thing for the Jags is, who covers him? Who do you have covering him?
Well, the way that they play almost like different tiers. So it's not like they're going to have one guy strict. They're not going to put, at least I would hope, they don't put Hunter on this guy, because as athletic as Hunter is, he doesn't have the experience to take on a dude like that. Like he'd be okay on a second or third string receiver at the moment, but no, they're gonna layer it. They're gonna have guys in the backfield and our linebackers, and you know they're gonna make sure that they're covered on every level. And I think that's where they're gonna hope to contain this guy. And if he catches it in, you know, at the linebacker level, you're going to have the safeties and the corners coming down on him like that. And we've got a lot of fast guys in that backfield, you know, Booker and Lloyd and you know, obviously JHA. These are guys that make a living on tracking people down. I know Walker was out this past week. He just had wrist surgery. He might be in next week. I don't know. Just that's another thing. They beat KC without one of their best defensive guys. That's huge. You gotta take something from that. And if you get him back, you're still just gonna make them that much better. And I can't wait to see what happens next week, man. This is gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be such a good one, and I think to your point, Rebby, what do you think of the state of the Jags, Rebby?
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
He's like, I bleed teal. Don't worry.
Hey, kid, what are you doing?
Rebby Roo.
Just passing by.
Hey, he just want to make sure everything's in order. The state of everything is good.
He couldn't help but get his mug on TV.
Of course. I mean, let's be fair. You know, he's the star of the show. When he's on camera, it's the star of the show.
Oh yeah. I'm
not editing out.
He's got all the looks.
I'm keeping that in. That's not getting edited out.
I couldn't have predicted that one.
I love it.
Oh, dog. Oy. What's next?
Last thing I'll say about the Jags is, to your point, they're going to layer it, right? That means they're going to probably be playing a lot of zone defense. And we saw that against the Chiefs. They played a lot of different zone defense. They played a lot of two-man shell, two high safeties, and then a lot of people right in the middle of the field. So I'm curious to see if they still go with that approach against Seattle, because it's good coverage, but when you're playing against a veteran quarterback that knows the gaps in between that zone defense, they're able to exploit it. That's why Mahomes looked pretty good, and the Chiefs' offense looked pretty good, because he was able to understand that zone defense. So I'm curious to see if the Jags give the Seahawks the same test that they gave Mahomes. Do the Seahawks have the answers?
It's a good question. How many times did Mahomes find an open receiver? One play in particular comes to mind is he's pointing down the near side of the field and then tosses it to the far side of the field to a dude that's wide open. Like he's got a irritating ability to find the open guy, and I don't know if Darnold's that good at it like he is. I mean, I don't think he's up to that level, but I could see them playing that same way, just based on the fact that they were able to win the game and do what they could do against Mahomes, and they're playing a dude who's not quite on that level. So, I mean, if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Makes sense.
You make your adjustments at halftime if you have to. But I think with the defensive line, if they can get pressure on him, then that'll give the secondary and your linebacking core a little bit of an opportunity to close those gaps that you're talking about. Maybe make some bad throws. If they can contain their running back, who I know is a beast, and he's definitely, he's getting really good. He's going to be a force for them for another couple of years at least. I think they're going to do okay. They just have to maintain that same intensity. If they don't have that intensity, that mentality of see it and get it, like they had last game, it could be a problem for them. But I think there's a really good chance they come out with that same intent. I don't think Cohen's going to let them slack a little bit. At least I would hope not.
I mean, it seems like, and you know more of the locker room as a fan, right, than I would. And I think that one thing that really makes coaches great is that he holds his players accountable. Especially as a new head coach for a team. This is his first year coming from being an OC in Tampa. This is your first year as a head coach, right? You want to put your players accountable, and not just the new guys too. You want to make sure that even the veterans, you hold them accountable, and because we know the potential that these Jaguars have had for years. They've had all the potential. They just never unleashed it.
Last year in particular, good Lord.
I know.
You got a low roster, and the last 2 years they've had a roster that you look and you're like, I recognize him, I recognize him, I recognize him, I recognize him. Like, you're going down the list and you're like, yo, these guys are pretty good. And then they get in the field and it's a shit show. This year, you're missing like 5 or 6 big names that were on the team last year, and they're more of a cohesive unit. They bought into the system. I mean, it's a complete night and day shift. Couldn't be happier. Again, couldn't be happy with the way they're going this year.
It's so great, and I'm really, really excited to see them, again, play the Colts, because that's really going to be determining the season this year. So they play the first time December 7th. That's the first time they play. And then the second time
pretty far in.
Yes. And then the second time they play is the second to last week of the season.
Wow.
So they
Okay.
play them pretty much twice in December, if my like the dates are right. So they are
Crazy.
those games in December are going to be huge, huge.
It was like week 10 and 14 or something like that. 10 and 15.
It's like week no, because it's after Thanksgiving. So it's like week
Shit, you're right.
yeah, December
God
7th.
damn.
So
All right. Oof. Damn.
yeah,
Talk
it's
about
like week
playoff implications and division. Oof.
week 14 and week 17 or something like that, or week 13 and week 17. Yeah, so
God, come on
mhm.
with that. Oof. Oof.
and and that's gonna be huge, right?
Yeah.
If if
Yeah.
the Jags can get all that momentum going into those games, it's going to be great. And it's really fun to see now the full potential of this Jags team,
Mm-hmm.
and not just Trevor Lawrence, because like we've known how great Trevor Lawrence can be, but now he's showcasing it, and now he's seeing it, and it's with a good balanced offense, with a great opportunistic defense, and in a division that's extremely winnable. The Texans are very slow. The Texans
Yeah.
offense wishes it was the Jags offense.
Ah,
Right?
imagine saying that this time last year. Forget it.
I know exactly, and so it's one of those things where a whole offseason can change your whole perspective, and it's just
Sure.
so it's a nice breath of fresh air to see Jacksonville be great, because the last time that we've seen them as great as they were, what was it? It was 2017 Saxonville. That was
No, I mean a couple of years ago when they knocked off the Chargers in the
that was pretty
playoffs.
good
I mean
too. Yeah,
that was a hell of a year, and the year after that they started off pretty good, and then just plummeted, and they haven't been back since now. I
yep.
mean, it's a very much different environment, and I will say this: it's going to be interesting to see that game that we're talking about later, because you've got Lawrence under a new OC, you got Jones under a new OC. Both of them seem to be doing. I mean, Jones is thriving. You can't ask for more from him. He's
Oh yeah.
he's taking his game to an astronomical level, and Lawrence is just like that game was a statement game for him. It showed what he can do when he doesn't want to be Mr. Sunshine and decides that he wants to go, balls out and make these plays and show the grit and the toughness. And it's going to be very interesting to see where these two quarterbacks go in the next 8 weeks or so
Yep.
before their meeting. It's something to keep an eye on. Lord knows I'll be on it.
Through hell and high water, I know you'll be on it.
Yes, sir.
Because again, I think it's funny. You're the only Jags fan that I know, but man, like you said, you bleed teal, and I respect the shit out of that.
Right here, baby.
Just waiting for
Hell
that
yeah.
tattoo
Yeah, well, let's see what the wife says about that.
soon. The wife soon enough. But man, but Mikey, let me ask you any final thoughts on this game?
No, I mean none that I haven't said already. It was what it was. It was a phenomenal win for the Jags. It's a heartbreaker for the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't say I'm sorry about that. No, it's something that you you have. If you're the Jags, you have to revel in that moment, but you got to get over it real fast, because you got another game coming up
Mm-hmm.
immediately. 6 days later, and you can't harp on that good feel. You got to bear down and focus on what you're going for next. And as cool as it would be to sit there and go, yeah, man, we just knocked off KC in a primetime game. And it's a wicked comeback, and all of this. That don't mean jack if you lose next week, because then all that good feeling's gone.
Yep.
So they really got to keep that shit up.
5-1 is a lot different than 4-2, but I think for them to beat the Chiefs and to prove to themselves that we can beat the Chiefs, that's a lot of good feelings ahead. And I think
Sure.
that really just reaffirms and reestablishes that belief that Liam Cohen has been giving throughout the locker room. We can do it because we
Mhm.
just did it. So let's
Mhm.
keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's the last few games when he's gone into that post game like huddle. I mean, all he's been saying is he's on all facets of the game have to played their part. They held their own weight.
Mm-hmm.
He's constantly saying how proud he is of these boys and how in the way that they fight. Just looking around, not even paying attention to him, but you look around at that team as he's talking. They're not disengaged. They are fully involved in what he's saying
Hmm.
and they're pretty much hanging on every word that the guy's going with, and you see a lot of nodding, you see a lot of pumped up, when he's talking. You win a game like that, and it almost sounded like they were more jacked up when he was coming through them to make that promo after the game. I mean, the pop from that team when he came through was ridiculous. I highly recommend checking it out. I mean, the last few games, they are playing their asses off, and I only want to pray that it continues, and I hope it does.
Absolutely. I'm excited for this game, and I'm excited for all these games in Week 6.
Oh yeah.
And our resident Jags expert, Mike Gunther, are you ready to make some picks for this week?
Hey man, let's get at it.
Let's get at it. Okay, so let's start Thursday night. Tomorrow night, we have the Eagles and the Giants in an NFC divisional rival game. So, Mikey, I'm going to ask you, who you got for this game?
In the words of Clubber Lang, there's going to be pain. It's going to be pain. These Giants are about to get wrecked by the Eagles. It's going to be rough, and it's going to be 50% at least 50% Eagle fans in that building, because you know how well Philly travels, and you know that the Meadowlands has just, I don't know how they consistently have like half capacity opposing team in the tri-state area. I mean, for Christ's sake, I know it's Jersey, but it's kind of New York, and
Mm-hmm.
it almost negates the home field advantage for the team when you got 50-50 split. But
Mm-hmm.
I can't see any scenario under any moon. It doesn't matter. There's no way the Giants are going to win this one. This one's going to be a painful one, and I can't wait to hear the radio because FAN broadcasts the Giants, and usually when I'm leaving work is around the end of that game, as they always play at 1 o'clock because they're not good enough to play primetime or anything like that. So hearing the dejected voices of the radio announcers, I know it's their pain, but it's my pleasure, and they are going to sound so forlorn as the Giants get their asses whooped by the Eagles. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles as well, and Palma's also taking the Eagles to beat the Giants. This should be a get-right game for Philly, but even though it's going to be a 50-50 split in fans, 100% of the 50% of the Giants fans are going to be Jackson Dart fans. And
Oh, yeah.
I had to do some Steiner math there, but I had to make sense of it a little bit.
Big
Giants only
respect.
have a 33% chance of winning, but you
man.
take half of their 33, whatever it is.
Shit. I love it.
We're all on the Eagles. I'm with it. So
Yeah.
let's move to Sunday's slate of games, and let's start in London, where we have the other New York team, the Jets, against the Denver Broncos in London. Mikey, who you got for this one?
Yeah,
Are we
did
going
I
with no
not
pain?
say? I said before that sending the Browns over to Europe was not exactly the best representation of the league. I will double down on that by sending the Jets over there as the representative. Also, not the greatest look. Once again, I don't think there's any scenario where a punchless Jets team knocks off the Broncos, who are flying high. This is not going to be pretty for the Jets. They're going to come back and have to shit. I don't even know how you right the ship at this point. It's just going to be bad. This is going to be another, like you said, it's going to be another one of those pain games. Fortunately, and the only silver lining to this is it's over early, so you have the rest of the day to actually watch competent football. These guys are just not good, and Denver's going to have their way.
Oh, man, why do we keep punishing Great Britain? Why do we keep punishing them by sending them over? I'm surprised. I mean, thank God, I guess, this year that the Jags don't have to go to London because it's the one year they're actually fucking good. But
Right?
I know, right? I'm going to take Denver as well. Palma's also taking Denver. It's not looking good for both the Jets and the Giants, but more so the Jets. It's not going to be a pretty game. But like you said, it's going to be over early.
Yeah, but you know what? It might not look good for the Jets or the Giants, but it looks really good for talk radio.
Oh, absolutely.
It's great. Monday morning is gonna. I mean, Friday morning is gonna be great for listening to, the midday show rail against the Giants. But the morning of Monday, oh, that's gonna be glorious to listen to. The Jets is just gonna. They're gonna suck so hard. It's gonna be pain. So much pain. Unless you're in a knockout pool where you gotta pick You have to pick a different team every time. Unless you're in that pool and you have to pick the Jets to the Giants, that's the only hope you've got because they got no shot. It's over.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be good. Palmer's taking the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos. We're all on the Broncos this week. So
Yeah.
let's move to the 1 o'clock games, and let's start in Duval, where the Seahawks are playing against the Jags. This is our game that we like to talk about. So, Mikey, I'm guessing you're going to go with your teal, baby.
I'm going to bleed it until I can't anymore. I'm going to roll with them. I'm cautiously optimistic just because of my history with the Jags and all my teams. I can't get too high on them. I have to rein myself in because I know as soon as I get overconfident, they're just going to shit the bed and I'm going to get depressed. And I don't know if I can deal with that. So I think that they've got a really good chance to win. I think they can pull it out. I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't see it being a blowout in any fashion. I could see it being maybe not quite 31-28 from last week, but I could see it being in the 20s, maybe the low 20s. I could see both teams doing it. I put it a total of under 50 for both teams because I think the Jags defense is going to come to play. But again, it all hinges on whether or not the offense can get going. And they had no running game against KC, and by the grace of Trevor Lawrence, that they were able to actually score 2 rushing touchdowns and then that 1 passing TD. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go about it. But yeah, I got to go Jags on this one.
I'm going to join you. I'm going to take the Jags on this one as well. I just think that, again, they're playing good team football. Again, leading the league in takeaways. And again, that last final drive against the Chiefs, Trevor Lawrence just looked like he hit another gear. And to me, that was very indicative of the quarterback that we know he can be. And I think that the Jags, again, you got to take the momentum. You got to ride high with it. And again, complete team football. If they can get that running game established, great. If not, then again, it's going to be a lot closer than you'd like. But I'll take the Jags to beat the Seahawks. Almost taking the Seahawks to beat the Jags.
Kind of figured he would.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's okay.
I'm not going to hit him for that.
We can't agree on everything. It's okay. Actually, last week in our picks, we split a lot of them, but Palma went 7-7. I went 4-10. I did not do good last week, but
it's just a rough week for you, bro.
Yeah. We move on. Let's move to Miami. Chargers against the Dolphins. Do the Chargers bounce back against that loss? Mikey, who you got?
I'd be surprised if they don't. As we established, Miami is kind of a rudderless ship adrift in the ocean, and I think that this will be a prime opportunity for Harbaugh to get that team rocking and rolling again. And I don't know if it's going to be a complete blowout, but I could see 31-14 or something like that. Like I could see the Chargers throwing up a 30 spot on them. I could see just a complete bounce back from them. A little humbled by what happened this past week, and with a lot of motivation to really show, okay, that was that was an anomaly, that last game, and this is who we really are against a team that's really floundering, so to speak. LA's got this.
I respect it. I'm going to take the upset on this one. I'm going to take Miami. There's just something about the Chargers where that loss against the Commanders, it really makes me want to kind of look into them a little bit more because it's like they only scored 10 and they looked DOA for the rest of the game. And it seems like they just couldn't get out of themselves. Like they just couldn't get out of their own head. And it was for 3/4 of the game that they just stalled. So, and Miami, they put up the points to beat the Panthers. But their defense just couldn't hold on. And hanging around, Panthers ultimately make the comeback. I'm going to take the Dolphins, not confidently, but I'll take them in the upset against the Chargers. Palma also took the Chargers to beat the Dolphins as well. So let's move to Baltimore, where I'm going to be attending this game, the Rams versus the Ravens. I'm just going to get it right out of the way. I'm taking the Rams to beat the Ravens. I don't think we're winning this game. Even if we do give Henry the ball 30 times, I don't think we're winning this game. And again, we look like a completely different team with and without Lamar. Believe me, he earned those MVPs because he is so valuable to our team because he is the team. Bates, I'm going with Brian and Bates. We're going to have a great time there.
Oh
And
boy.
I'm just going to make sure that Bates doesn't get stabbed in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's a great idea, especially
Yeah.
since he's your ticket to get there.
Oh, no. Brian and I were driving.
Oh, are you? You
Oh,
driving
yeah.
down there? God damn.
Yeah.
That's a good 4.5 hours for you, right?
Oh, yeah. Like roughly, yeah.
Bless your hearts. Yeah, for your guys' sake, I hope they win. I don't think they're gonna, but I hope they do. Just so you guys can have a good trip there. And see, all right, so it serves two masters if you think about it. So if the Bills, I'm sorry, God help me, if the Ravens win, I saw the B on Baltimore. I'm like, oh, Bills, nope. If the Ravens win, you and Rabbit will be very happy, and Bates is gonna have a hell of a time in that parking lot because they're gonna heckle his ass and just awful. But if the Rams win, Ravens fans ain't gonna say shit. They're gonna be quiet, and he's gonna have an easy exit out of that building. I've seen it in hockey. I know how this works. So it's rough to say one way or the other. I don't think Baltimore's got it until they get Jackson back. I think they're gonna have a hard time beating anybody. Especially if they run the same way that they did last game. Like, if they don't give Henry the ball, they're so screwed. But for your sake, I hope they win, but I don't think they're gonna.
Can't even stop a nosebleed, but we'll see.
Oof. Oof. Oh, it's brutal.
Oh man, let's move to Indianapolis, where we have Indiana Jones taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Mikey, who you got for this one?
I would love for the Cardinals to win. I wish they do, but I got no confidence in them. And until I see somebody shut down the train that is the Colts right now, I gotta go Indy. I don't want to. Christ knows I don't want to. But again, I have no confidence in the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they should have won that game against the Titans, but I think that it's indicative that they can beat themselves. But they don't need to beat themselves because Indy's going to beat them. And I'm going to take the Colts to beat the Cardinals. Palmer's also taking the Colts to beat the Cardinals. And
Yeah.
again, it's just to see Danny Dimes do what he's doing in Indy, it is such a breath of fresh air. It's like, wow, maybe the problem is the Giants. Sorry, Danny.
Does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It does. It makes me wonder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But let's move to Carolina, where we have the Dallas Cowboys coming to take on the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to take the Cowboys on this one. I like that they are playing very well. Their offense looks phenomenal. Their defense is okay. It's not the best, but Carolina's not really the best. And again, Dag's putting up great numbers. I'm taking the Cowboys. Mikey, who you got?
I think that's going to be a fun one to watch. I can see it being a rather competitive game, but I got to go Dallas on this one. I don't think Carolina's got the offensive oomph still to overcome any kind of offensive output by Dallas. But it should be a fun one. This is one that I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but if I could, I would definitely take a peek at this game every now and again because I think it's going to be a fun one to see.
Oh, I'm totally with you on that. This is going to be a really good game to watch, a very underrated game to watch. Palma is also taking the Cowboys to beat the Panthers. So let's move to the Big Easy, where we have the New England Patriots coming to play the New Orleans Saints. Mikey, who you got for this one?
If I'm going with my heart, fuck the Patriots.
Amen to that.
Look, that's just something that's never going to go away. They could suck for a decade, and you're still going to say fuck them. I don't know. This is one of those games where I wouldn't touch with a pole. Gun to my head, I'm going to say Patriots win this one.
Okay. I'm also going to take the Patriots on this one. I just feel that they have a more cohesive team than the Saints. Paul and I, we've kind of delved into the Saints and their woes this year and why it's like that. And despite them beating the Giants, I don't think that that's going to be erased in one game. I'm taking
that game was more of an indictment on the Giants as opposed to the ascension of Rattler.
Exactly, and 100%. So I'm going to take the Patriots. Palmer's taking the Patriots. You're taking the Patriots. We're all on the Patriots.
Yeah. I don't want to, but I kind of gotta.
Let's move to Pittsburgh, where this is.
I was waiting for this one.
This is Palmer's game, where I don't think he's gonna like this one because it is the Browns taking on it's the Browns taking on the Steelers, and the
Mm-hmm.
Browns still have
Mm-hmm.
that number one defense. Myles Garrett's still a man on a mission, and Aaron Rodgers behind that offensive line, he might be in trouble. But Mikey, who you got?
How much do I want to hurt my not cousin? Well, I gotta say that look, I don't trust either team offensively at all. But with that said, I would take Cleveland's D over Pittsburgh's, so I'm gonna lean Cleveland on this one.
Ooh, okay. I like it. It's very interesting because again, it's a rookie quarterback against an experienced Mike Tomlin team, very
Uh-huh.
veteran heavy. But the
Uh-huh.
Steelers are a team where they probably looked their best 2 weeks ago against in what was it Ireland when they played against what was it, the Vikings? Yeah, when they played against the Vikings. That's probably when they
Yeah.
played their best football this year. But aside from that, like they've been really kind of very iffy. I know Palma's very pessimistic about the Steelers this year, but so far they just keep winning. I think I'm gonna go with you on the Browns on this one.
Wow.
Something's telling me that this could be a game where that defense could be very opportunistic. But I do like Tomlin taking advantage of a young quarterback. So I think this is going to be a very low-scoring affair. These teams know each other very well, and I got to give a lot
Yeah.
of credit to Kevin Stefanski. He's a good coach. He's a very, very good
Mhm.
coach. So he knows how to play this game. I'm taking the Browns. You're taking the Browns. Palma's taking the Steelers, of course. But this should be a very interesting AFC North game.
Agreed. It's going to be very low scoring, I think. It's going to be very defensive oriented. I don't think either offense is going to really um, catch a stride at all. But again, I have more confidence in the defense of Cleveland than I do Pittsburgh.
And I'm with you on that. So let's move to Las Vegas, where we have the Tennessee Titans coming to play Geno Smith and the Las Vegas Raiders. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except chlamydia. Mikey, who you got?
I know that shit follows you from what I've heard. No, we I've heard. I got to preface that. Want deeply, and I'm gonna stick with this to go Raiders. I'm gonna say they come back. They got embarrassed. I know Carroll's not about that, and think that they take care of business. And I don't think it's gonna be pretty, but I could definitely see a Raider dub at home against the Titans. Um, and I'm not saying that in any kind of bias. I really think that's how that's gonna go.
I'm with you on that. I'm going to take the Raiders as well because if there's any team in the NFL that needs a win, besides the Ravens, it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Raiders need a win. They need a bolster of confidence. And to be honest, Tennessee should not have won that game last week. There was just so many different things that happened that led them to kind of still staying in that game and being in it. But ultimately, they shouldn't have won it. Despite that, the Raiders look lost. And they don't look good. And I'm sure Palma and I we're going to get into the Raiders at some point this season. But I'm going to take the Raiders to beat the Titans. You're taking the Raiders. Palma's also taking the Raiders. We're all on the Raiders this week.
It's wild that you could say that a team under Pete Carroll looks lost, especially after recent times with that guy. Like
Yep.
he's generally got his team playing very disciplined and more sure of themselves, and we're going to see how resilient that team is this week.
Absolutely. And that's well said. Let's move to Tampa Bay, where we have the 49ers coming to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This should be a really good game, and I'm excited for this one. But Mikey, who you got for this one? I'm curious.
I think if you want to see for the 4 o'clock set of games, you want to see offense. This is the game to see it. I think these guys are going to get very interesting. I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. I don't know really who to take. This is kind of one of them coin flip games.
Take the red team.
Oh yeah, that helps. If shit, you know when you're not really sure who to pick, and it's a pretty even matchup, going with home field and the team that's actually got their starting quarterback is probably a safe bet. So I'm gonna go Tampa on this one.
I like it, my friend. I like it a lot. There's a lot to be said with this game. This should be very exciting. And being that these two teams are as successful as they are, I'm going to say that this is probably going to determine a lot of playoff seeding going forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this matchup again in January, but we shall see. I'm going to take Tampa as well. I like Tampa, how they're playing and how Baker's been playing lately. And Palma is also taking the Buccaneers as well. So we are all on that Buccaneers bandwagon. So let's move to Green Bay from Tampa Bay. We go to Green Bay, where the Bengals come to town to play the Packers. This is Joe Flacco's first start as a Bengal. It breaks my heart, man. It breaks my heart to see him in a Bengals uniform.
Yep.
But that does mean that his Browns jersey will be discounted on Fanatics. So I'm going to take Green Bay.
Like you did anyway.
I'm going to take Green Bay.
Know you won't. No. You would. You'd be caught dead before you're wearing a Browns jersey.
I pity the Browns, but fuck the Bengals. But I'm going to take the Packers, though.
Yeah, I think you'd be foolish not to. It would not shock me if, and I don't know why I think this, because I mean, they're not division rivals or anything like that. So I wouldn't think there's particular like vitriol on one side or the other. But I mean, I could see like, Micah Parsons coming out going, all right, let's just put this old dude out to pasture, and them going for blood on Flacco. I think it's going to be a very, very bad day for him and for the Bengals. I mean, it could very well be just a bloodbath. Maybe not so much in regards to score, but in regards to offensive inability on Cincinnati's part. Like I think Green Bay is just going to run rampant over them on the defensive side. It's going to be nasty to see. You're not supposed to. There's supposed to be censors for this kind of thing. You're not supposed to see this stuff on TV. You're supposed to blot this shit out. It's just going to be, it's public execution in this respect. I don't think the Bengals are going to do well at all. And I feel bad for Flacco.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. Again, this is elder abuse here. Shouldn't be happening. Yeah. I'm taking the Packers. You're taking the Packers. Palma is also taking the Packers this game.
Yeah, so, you must have to. Like, it's just not going to get good.
We got a Sunday night primetime game. This is going to be a good one, my friend. We have the Detroit Lions coming to play the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be a really, really good matchup between, again, two good teams. And again, Kansas City's a lot better than their record shows. They played you guys very well.
Hell yeah.
But Detroit, man, they are just juggernauts at this point. But it is going to be great to see. But Mikey, who you got for this one? I'm curious.
I'm going Detroit on this. I think that they are a more complete team. I'm so looking forward to this game. This is one you sit back with a sixer and kill it in the first half. This is going to be one of them things where you're in every snap. The crowd in Arrowhead is going to be jacked for this. This is what you want in a Sunday night primetime game. This is must-see TV. This is going to be some good shit. But I think that Detroit's going to come out on top on this one.
Man, this is going to be such a great game. And you're absolutely right. This is prime time, and there's a reason they put this on prime time. Two teams that are just so good, and they play the game of football so well. And two different styles, too. Like, one's very aggressive, one's very creative, and it really showcases the talent on both teams. I'm torn. I'm really torn on this one.
I can understand that for sure.
I'm taking Kansas City. Part of me thinks that first off, to see the Chiefs lose back-to-back twice in the same season, it seems crazy to think about. But their offense clicked very well against you guys, and their defense is still pretty solid. And I like Steve Spagnuolo still as the DC. Andy Reid calling creative plays. And again, this is going to be must-see TV, and it's probably going to be split by like a hair, whoever wins this.
Mm-hmm. I could see it being very tight.
But yeah, absolutely. And it might be whoever has the ball last wins the game. So
I think we saw that recently.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Kind of rings a bell a little bit.
It does. I mean, yeah, fascinating.
I'm taking Kansas City. You're taking Detroit. Palma's also taking Detroit to win this one.
Really?
Yep.
Shit, I thought it would be Casey all the way.
No, Palma's not too high on Kansas City as of late, but he loves the Lions, man. He loves Dan Campbell and them Lions. So I can't fault them either. They're a great team.
For our boy Ed, I hope they get the dub on this one.
Believe me, I want the Lions to win, but part of me is just saying, trust my gut. My gut's saying Kansas City.
Well, again, that's where the what do you want and what do you think? You weigh in the two.
Believe me, I want the Ravens to win. Do I think they will? Hell no.
Yeah, I know that's far too well, sir.
So, Mikey, we got two Monday night games this week. let's start with the first one. We got the Buffalo Bills going to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Who you got for this one?
Man, Buffalo going to be pissed. Allen's going to come out with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to rip Atlanta apart. I don't think there's any shot for Atlanta on this one. Home field be damned. I know Penix is going to try his best, and they'll put up a couple of points, but they're punching up against a superior team, and we all know that the Bills are for real. They had a hiccup last game, and I think they're going to be more motivated just by that alone than we've seen in a little while. And I think they're going to take the frustrations out on the Falcons. It's going to be bad. Georgia Dome's going to be weeping, and the Bills are going to be coming out victorious.
I'm with you on that. There's very little to say after that because I agree with everything that you just said. I'm taking the Bills. Palma's taking the Bills. You're taking the Bills. I think this one's pretty clear cut and dry for this one. But, hey, any given day, any given Sunday, any given Monday. But we shall see.
As we've seen.
Final game of the week, the Chicago Bears against the Washington Commanders. This was the game that broke the Bears last year, that Hail Mary game. This is that rematch. Mikey, who you got for this one?
Who do I got for this one? Well, if I was going to take a stab, I'm saying Washington. I think this is going to be another one of those ones where Daniels comes out and he does his thing and the defense holds up. I could see this being like, I don't know, maybe it's definitely going to be a one-score game, I think. I don't think it's going to be a blowout in any respect. It's going to be tight. But, I mean, I can't see Washington losing this. I'd be shocked if they did. I know that Chicago's on the way up, and they've shown a little more spark than they did last season. I don't think they're quite ready for Washington on this one. I gotta go. I was gonna say Redskins. I gotta go Commanders on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington as well. A lot for the reasons that you said as well. For me, Chicago is one of those teams where they're great on script. Like the first 2 to 3 drives, they're great, right? When they have the game plan, right? But Washington is better on the adjustment. And I think that there's something to be said about that where Chicago can lead first, but Washington can adapt and they can adjust because they got a lot of veteran leadership. They have a lot of great young talent on there to blend with that veteran leadership. And again, like you said, Jaden Daniels, he's just that dude, man. He's just really that dude. I'm taking
he's
Washington.
A real dude.
You're taking Washington. Palma's taking Washington. We're all on the Commanders this week.
Surprising number of games that we're all in lockstep on.
Yeah, there's a lot of games where we took a lot of the favorites this week, but that's okay. There's definitely bound to be some upsets, but I'm gonna keep track of how everyone picked this week.
Oh, don't do that. Don't put me on blast like that.
I'll put you on blast, Mikey. Don't worry, my friend.
No. I don't want to have a record. No.
You got the record.
Shit.
Oh man, so. Mikey, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Let's Talk Football. It was we had such a great time talking with you, and I know Palma would have loved to have been here talking with you, and hopefully we can get you back on later this year, maybe for that Colts
Tell you
game.
what, man, and I'll say this now. If the Jags make the playoffs, we'll talk first week in the playoffs.
I'll hold you to it.
All right? And I know you will. I know you ain't going to forget. But if Team Teal makes it to the promised land, makes it to the playoffs, then we will. I'll come back on gladly, and we'll discuss.
I love it. Thank you, Mikey. I really appreciate it, and I know Palma would love to talk ball with you as well. So
Sure,
there you have it, folks. Thank you so much again, Mikey, for joining me this week. Palma will be back next week. He's just currently on vacation. So if you like this video, please give a like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to get an interview on the pod, please message myself or Palma, and we'd love to have you on. Once again, Mikey, thank you so much for joining me this week. I really appreciate it.
But it was a pleasure. I appreciate the invite, and let's go, dude!
See, that's how you do it. Until then, we'll catch you next week, guys. Thank you.